How are we doing for food? We're doing pretty good. Let's grab those radishes. I mean, a lot of things I did that I shouldn't have done there, like opening the door without my weapon ready, all that kind of stuff. It worked out, but it's dangerous to do that. Because if a zombie had been waiting there, I wasn't ready for him. You mean just so it makes noise when the zombies are there? No, never bothered. I've never really had that big of problems with it, just is those things that you can objectively look at and go, this was not how I should approach this situation. Because all it is take being just a little reckless and all that to ruin everything. Just the one moment of just not putting enough effort. I can see where that'd be extremely useful for sheet rope. There's a zombie over to the east as well. I remember when our objective was just to see snow, because it had been so long. Because they do all these like ridiculous pop runs and these challenge runs and all that, that it's not often you actually live a, you know, appreciable amount of time. Not hard of hearing. I've done deaf, but I've never done hard of hearing. I understand hard of hearing messes with how sound, like makes it sound like garbled or anything. I think that actually make for like really terrible streaming because people would assume I have audio problems. And understandably so, because who wants to play something that sounds terrible? That said, I really enjoyed the deaf run. I'm not sure if I'll do it again anytime soon. And the only reason is simply because there's no in-game sounds. And like, it's not even the survival aspect. After a while, when you get like 2-3 months into a run, you're like, look man, I really want sounds. Not because of like the survival side of it, just the world is, like, empty without it. So after a while, you just find yourself missing actually being able to hear literally anything. Oh, and I just noticed we went from where we used to be weak, then we were feeble, then we were just nothing, and now we are stout. Ooh, fitness is getting so close to leveling. I don't know. I know there is a mod that you can become desensitized to killing zombies and all that, but I don't know what, like, the actual cutoff is. I don't use it. Give me 1 minute and I'll bring up the skills again. You know, that is a mod I would like to see. I would like to see a mod that's Twitch integration, such as like Path of Exile, where you can look on the right side of the screen, like hit a button and just look at, you know, my stats at any given time. So here, let me put this over here. So as you can see, we're at 4 fitness, just about to hit 5, 6 strength. We're pretty close to nimble 4, about a little over 2/3 of the way there. Most of our combat skills are at 5 or almost 5, a couple getting pretty close to 6. Carpentry, cooking, farming, and tailoring, we've leveled pretty well. The other crafting skills, not so much. Aiming is almost 5 from 1 rampage with a shotgun. And then our survivals are pretty terrible. But yeah, the only Twitch integration I know of right now, and it's... to call it Twitch integration is kind of nod wink, is the Twitch integration with extended helicopters. It's not true Twitch integration. It's, you can push a button to do stuff. So Twitch can say, alright, we're going to give you bits, and then we're going to send a helicopter. But it's like, that's not actual integration so much as it's just, you know, you manually do what the points and bits would be for. If you could, how much kill will you pick? Oh, for desensitized? I don't know. Like that's... like, I feel like your character should still be able to hit panic. Like, there should be those situations, it just should take a little bit more. And there should be some situations your character can never truly become desensitized to. Because, like, I don't care how many kills you've had, if you see 1,000 zombies, you should panic. Like, even this character should panic if they see 1,000 zombies. So there's, like, always going to be a threshold that, you know, they do panic. And there is some desensitization built into the game, where it does take more and more to get them to panic, but it does cap off pretty early. Yep, even if you've successfully done it a dozen or 100 times, it still should be like, this is a dangerous situation. I should be... like, it should still give me anxiety. Okay, so, I mean, that's with proper training. Our character here does not have proper training. Our character here was just an unemployed individual who has no military training, had no craft training, was obese, weak, unfit, and slow healer. Has never heard of this thing called the gym. They're just surviving. But yeah, I imagine being like meleeing stuff down again and again, there's always going to be a certain level of fear and panic with something that you know, if you get so much as a scratch, that could be the end of your life. I probably wouldn't do a I wouldn't do a desensitized option that would just, you know, eventually my character become like completely emotionless, never capable of feeling panic or anything like that. To me, I don't feel like that would be a good addition to the game. Because then like beta blockers serve no purpose. You know, you don't have to worry about the consequence of picking off too many. You wouldn't have to manage any of it, and like panic is very easy to manage in the game. That said, if that was an option, I wouldn't have anyone having a problem with like that option existing. I don't hate the veteran profession or anything like that. I mean, I actually don't use any of the professions if we're being real. I use unemployed every single round. And hate's a far stronger word. It's just not what I would prefer. Like, in-game, there's ways to manage panic. I'm not saying, like, I want my character to panic at the drop of a hat. Like, I don't run hemophobic for a reason. I'm just saying I think it's a meaningful mechanic in the way it is. But like, as far as like military training to shut out emotion and all that, I mean, how many military people come home and have all sorts of serious problems from what they had to do out at war? So it's not 100% effective. Like, in the moment you may do it, but then, you know, you go home and have serious psychological problems. We're actually fortunate in this game that your character doesn't end up with that. Yeah. Like, that was, a game I liked that I wish I had played more of was there was a game called The War Is Mine. And the idea behind the game is you're just, like, some everyday citizen. You're in non-specific, like, World War II area. So you're, like, you know, somewhere in the UK that's being bombed out, and there's war going on, or whatever. And just, you can do awful stuff, but it just causes your people to melt down. And, like, things get desperate, and you do terrible things. Or even, like, bad people. Like, you know, you have, you know, individuals who are, like, there who are going to kill you. Just being the one who's just delivering death just really ruins you. Like, you'll have your other characters who are, like, doing fine. They'll be just the one person you send out to do all the fighting, and they're just basically just trying to keep their faculties together, and that's the best you're hoping for. But yeah, so for me, like, the character should panic. And honestly, like, them waking up having nightmares from time to time, yeah, that checks out. Like, I also think it'd be fair that sometimes your character should just wake up and be sad, because, I mean, look at the world they're in. Not like as a constant thing, but like as nightmares where just like once in a long while your character just has a bad day. It give antidepressants and, you know, sadness a bit more meaning in the game. I also feel antidepressants shouldn't be quite as powerful as they are, because they are absurdly powerful. Just, oh, I'm sad, pop an antidepressant, 30 minutes later, it's like, oh, well, not anymore. I am right as rain. I think one thing I'm going to step in here, just because I do try and help with stuff like people with disabilities and all that. Probably shouldn't be throwing around terms like sociopath and all that, particularly willy-nilly. Because that can be minimalizing for people who actually do deal with those things. And the technical definition is antisocial personality disorder. Because people who do deal with antisocial personality disorder can be entirely functional individuals that, you know, they have a burden they deal with. It is a disability. A neurodivergent condition. But most of them are well managed. Yeah, and Jack, what you said is fine. Only reason I'm not going to hit the allow on it is because then it'll add the last part will become an allowed term, and I want that term to get caught just in case someone like actually makes a threat versus what you're doing is not a threat. And just so people have context, Jack was saying people crying in pain, sad, someone hit my pet, I'll kill you kind of thing. It's like, yeah, no, that's not okay. Like I said, there are people who it's entirely well managed. You'd never know they deal with it. In fact, most of them would be that case where they deal with it perfectly fine. Like they've talked to people, they got it managed, it's fine. looks like a migration, not just them hearing me. Yeah. The one that always gets me is like, you'll have fought really hard, you'll finally have secured a location, you're ready to rock and roll. Why are there so many zombies here? What is happening? Not this crap again. But, and you'll finally be like, alright, I finally got this place ready, let's go in, and there'll be an alarm, and you're like, no, I just put all of this work, and this is effectively undone it all in one instant. I don't want to be going up the road, really, because we haven't cleared this way, so I could back right into the horde. Oh, good. Now, actually, I take that back. We have cleared up this way. So that was weird that we had a whole bunch of zombies move around again. Like, it's a migration, I get it. It's just they sweep across the road in one giant pack. And that's dangerous for me to be yelling here, but I'm doing it because there's lots of zombies here, so I might as well work on getting rid of them. I can. I'm not looking to, like, blast the horn, mostly because the horn sound gets very annoying if I have to keep blasting it everywhere I go. It's part of the reason I want to find a vehicle with a siren, because then I can just crank the siren volume way down. And then it's fine. Still, if I could get desensitized, how many kill would you pick? That's the problem, is I do not believe there would be a point you would be properly desensitized. Like, there is not a mount that would make you desensitized, in my opinion. Like, you know, I would say, like, infinity, because there's just not a realistic point you hit there, where it's just like, oh, killing things no longer affects me in any meaningful way. Yeah, I do think, like, when you're talking desensitized as into, like, smaller groups, sure. I can agree with that, but, like, desensitized to the point that it's just you're not afraid anymore, you don't panic. Like, it wouldn't be to that extreme. And for the record, they actually do have where you become desensitized to kills in the game. Like, that's already a mechanic. It's just, it's very limited. And so I think it's not bad the way it is already implemented in the game. It's just not kill-based. I want to say it's time-based, and it's pretty early. I want to say it's like 28 days or whatever. No, but I also don't look the animal in the eyes like I kill it. And there's a difference between an animal and what was once a sentient person. Like, assuming this person lived in this neighborhood, they're looking into the eyes of people they once knew. I'm not arguing that desensitization doesn't exist or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a difference between, you know, fighting what's effectively other people and then eating something that, you know... Like, when I go and eat a burger, I don't think in the moment I'm eating something that was once alive. It's like I'm having a burger. I don't have to face the mortality of the situation. I'm aware of the mortality of the situation, but there's a detachment there. Yeah, and Automata got you again. And what Jack was saying was a trick is to see people as monster, subhuman, or a threat. Like, when you're talking zombies, I get it. They are arguably a monster and all that, so sure. I'm not. The only reason I'm not allowing it is because then they'll add some subhuman into my allowed list, and I sure as hell don't want that on my allowed list. Like, I want anytime someone says the term subhuman to immediately flag and let me decide if it stays or goes. Yeah, I wouldn't say I get sad eating meat, like, actually dealing with the process around it, that's different, but you don't think of it in the moment that you're eating. So I wouldn't say that's desensitized so much as you're, like, just deliberately not thinking about it. Yeah. Anyways, I do think I'm at the point. I'm going to say we probably go ahead and move on from the desensitized topic, because we've hit a number of things that are getting kind of on the edge of stuff that could be potentially problematic for people. And, like, you know, automod's getting to work out, so that's usually an indicator that maybe it's time we move on. Like, I don't have a problem talking about difficult topics, it's just ones that can be potentially difficult, because, like, talking about, for one, like, psychiatric conditions that are actually a disorder and all that, probably don't want to make light of that. I mean, no one has said anything, but there isn't a need, like, when you're talking about, like, you know, we talked about, you know, antisocial personality disorder. There very well could be people watching the channel who, now you're talking about something that affects their everyday life in a way that's like, oh yeah, making kind of assertions that are perhaps not accurate. You know, people could be easily enjoying their dinner and all that. So it's not so much as being offensive or not as being respectful. Is there a mechanical advantage to using earbuds with the radio rather than just low volume? Not that I've noticed. I can usually just sit there on volume 1 and it's fine. And the weather reports never stop. The idea is it's some automated system doing it, like some magic Doppler that never goes off. Like that just the Weather Channel has Doppler radar and it's just smart enough to be able to look at it and just already know technology that does not exist in 1993. The, like, automated reports being that accurate. But for purposes of the game, it's just magic. Goes forever. So the game does give you hints that we're in the exclusion zone, but it's a zombie apocalypse. There has never been a, like, as far as I've seen, there's never been a telling of the zombie apocalypse where it doesn't escape the quarantine. Project Zomboid is no different. So you can actually catch little bits of what's happening in the outside world if you listen to the radios and the television until they all go offline. Right. Yep, by the lore, the exclusion zone does fail. You know, there probably is one. I shouldn't say there isn't one, but most of the time it's almost always they're like, oh, we've got it under control. Oh, wait, no we don't. Never mind. Oh god, everything's awful. I need to see Don't Look Up. I've heard really good things. Yeah, well, that's what I've heard. Is it's like it hits on a lot of things that just hit very close to home. So it does really good presentation. All right, so it's decision time. So the decision we gotta make is which way we're going into Riverside. Now, the last time I did this, I took this road, we went out here, and we went all the way out to the east. And so we started in this block. And that's ultimately where our character died, was that house right there. This very specific house right here is where our last character died doing this. So, the question I have is, do I take the main road and just go straight in from the south? That's one option. Do I come in from the east where it's lower population? We get our foothold in one of these areas, the gas station's there, and push our way east. Do I not embark with Riverside proper and I start down here with the country club and wipe out the country club first, and then move up to Riverside? You know, go by the warehouse route. Like, these are all options I have. So we got one vote for west entrance, so go up and around to the west. One vote for the country club. To whatever's the most risky? Probably country club would be my guess. Because there's a lot of zombies here. I can't get my foothold anywhere until I get inside. The country club building itself, which is this building, I believe, is just going to be a hot mess. Maybe we... Let's see how the country club looks. I mean, ultimately I have to kill all the places, so... Like, whether I do it now or later doesn't really change a whole lot. Was that Akron that you were planning to get into on the map? No, we started in Ekron. We're trying to get to Riverside. Yeah, so this is Ekron here, the town we started in. This is the country club, that's Riverside. So right now, ultimately, it's wipe this area out. Like, it's going to be all of these things, but this town, this area, the country club, and this is like the Riverside area. So the current plan is just basically we're pushing into Riverside territory to try and get a foothold. And in the meantime, we are going to be bouncing back and forth between Ekron and Riverside just because that's what's going to end up having to happen. Ooh, that on the other side of the river looks like a bad time. It's kind of what I was expecting, though, for the country club. Country club population can get pretty bad sometimes. Yeah, so it looks like we got a lot of random zombies just out in the trees. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we found more than 1,000 zombies easily in the country club. I'd say the country club's population is probably not too far off of Ekron's, would be my guess. Yep, zombie up there. That's where I wanted to back up into for fighting. I hate the trees all on the side of the road here. Yeah, so I'm not going to drive the car up farther because I see that there's a good couple hordes up here. Ooh, I need to get my stamina back. What I'm instead going to do is walk in, start clearing it out, then I'll drive the car in, because otherwise you could end up pulling a ton of zombies to that spot and then just have to back away, and that's just not what we want. Yeah, I mean, we're getting pretty close to the point that I'm going to have the character, we're going to have to head back to the house for sleep and all that. But, in the meantime, we're just going to walk up, start clearing stuff out. Don't walk away, that's just rude. Nah, usually when I get a weapon that's really good like that for killing lots of zombies, I will just go find lots of zombies. Like, I won't wait till it's a good situation to use it. I will make the situation to use it. Like, we found the katana, it happened to be a helicopter was rolling through, so we just immediately busted it out and went for it. I was just made a whole bunch of noise and just kind of dealt. Like, the only time I would be on the fence about the katana and using it is if I was, like, super early and somehow got a hold of a katana, which shouldn't really be possible. I would be concerned about using it without, like, at least a good couple points in maintenance and a point or two in long blade. Because that would feel like a little bit of a waste of a katana just because we'd break it before we got much mileage out of it. That said, usually when you wait, you know, save stuff in that case, you don't live to use it. It's the classic, like, you get your health potions and that, and you never use them because you want to save them for when you need them, and when you needed them was when you were, like, not using them. Alright, so it's getting dark. We're getting to a point where we're getting pretty close to getting to drowsy. We're also pretty low on stamina, so it's time to turn around. Yeah, sometimes the AI just doesn't know how to fence. You know, going towards the country club might be the better idea just because the road's wider, so I don't have to worry as much about the bodies on the roads kind of thing. Versus I remember that being a huge, colossal pain in the other run. And, like, this is one of the difficult things with this run, is when you're trying to get to these far-off places, you end up having to just drive back and forth quite a bit. Until we get our foot in the door, and, like, once we actually get our foot in the door, then it's not so bad. Because then we grab a couple days worth of food, some water, all that. Go in, spend a couple days clearing zombies, back out, resupply, restock, rinse and repeat. Oh, we will have a sub base. We have to get into town to get the sub base set up first. That's what I mean. It's going to take us a while to clear out to the point we can get into a building. Because, like, we had probably a good another 40, 50 zombies that were right there at the end of that bridge, just within sight. And I have to go all the way into the road, like, another 2 blocks worth of space. Then you have to do, like, there's a guard post you have to turn in. Then you have to go another, like, block and a half inside the country club till you reach the first house. Then we have to actually fight to clear out the zombies around the first house. And then we'll finally have a place we can sleep in town. But this works out because, you know, we're right about to hit winter in one day. Will be officially the beginning of winter in the game. So we're going to rely on our perishable goods as much as we can going into winter. When they run out, then we'll start eating the canned goods and that kind of stuff. But that's kind of a good thing, because winter is usually the time that you get to do the most pushing, because you can't really farm on a meaningful level. It's winter. Like, you can grow stuff inside, but then I have to water it all by hand. It's winter. Foraging is massively reduced because it's winter. Trapping is reduced because it's winter. So it's just a good time to push and then, you know, lean on the resources you collected the rest of the year. But then I also intend for this to be our main base, just because it's kind of center map. So we can keep returning here. We know we've got gas. Because that's another thing, is like, the country club has no gas stations, so when I get low in gas, I have no choice but to return here anyways. No, I left the radio on. Any zombies coming? No, doesn't look like it. Yep, I haven't seen a trailer yet, though. And on these pops, it's kind of hard to just drive around randomly. The roads get very heavy with zombies anywhere near any type of civilization. Now granted, it's been a long time since we've done a drive around, and with all the helicopters drawing the zombies over this way, and, you know, the fact we've killed 11,000 zombies, I am curious how bad things are in areas that I'm used to seeing it completely overrun. That's fine. Before I forget, I need 2 light bulbs. Because light bulbs burn out at just random times. And like I said, I have a filter on stream that makes the gamma way higher for all of you, but for me it's super dark, so I really like actually being able to see. I'm just prioritizing anything that doesn't say fresh. Not gonna really worry too much about the happiness implications. Easy, we can make that better. We'll just toss a tomato in there. Cool.